Okay. I'm putting you in the spotlight video right now. Okay. All right, Maharaj. So we are good to go. So thank you very much for again joining time, and please bless us. So we will continue our Amrtera Tarangini, the program of Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2, Chapter 6. There is no need of introduction of His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj. So all of you know him very well. So we'll just like to hear attentively to give him. Thank you very much, Maharaj. Yes, please start with the Kirtan, and then at the end we'll have the Q&A. So please stay tuned, and the chat and Q&A box is also open. So please use any channel. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Guru Vaishnava Rupam Sagrasatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Sam Sajivam Advaitam Savadutam Jana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Vishakhantamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namaste Saraswati Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva, Gurudeva, Jaya Gurudeva. Jaya Gurudeva, Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajakacharya Stotras Tuti Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Pariprajakacharya Stotras Tuti Srimad Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So We will be discussing Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2, Chapter 6, which is entitled Purusha Sukta Confirmed. The Purusha Sukta are prayers or hymns in the Rig Veda in glorification of Garbhodakshai Vishnu as the super soul of the universe. The previous chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2, Chapter 5, describes the universal form, the Virat Rupa or Virat Purusha. And Chapter 6 begins by continuing that discussion of the universal form, how everything in the universe comes from the universal form. I'm reminded of an exchange that took place with Srila Prabhupada in India. Revatinandan Swami said to Srila Prabhupada that sometimes we read that all the planetary systems are within the lotus sprouting from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And sometimes we read that Lord Brahma, who was born on the lotus flower on the top, from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, that he created the planetary systems. So how do we reconcile these two versions? And Srila Prabhupada replied that these things are inconceivable, and our only duty is to love Krishna. So these discussions, the previous chapter was about the creation, discussions of God's greatness. Everyone will say God is great, but Srila Prabhupada says how great God is, people don't know. But we can learn how great God is from Srimad Bhagavatam. So the discussions of the greatness of God are meant to inspire us to love Him ultimately. So in this chapter, after describing, you could say, the opulence of the Lord, Lord Brahma himself, who's speaking here in this chapter, Lord Brahma himself expresses his desire or intention or determination to take shelter of the Lord, to surrender to the Lord. And I've chosen one of several verses in that mood to read and discuss now. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2, Chapter 6, Purusha Sukta Confirmed, Text 38. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Yasyavatara karmani gayanti yaspadadaya nayam vidanti tattvena tasmai bhagavate namaha. Yasyavatara karmani gayanti yasmadadaya nayam vidanti tattvena tasmai bhagavate namaha. Yasya, whose, avatara, incarnation, karmani, activities, gayanti, chant in glorification, he, indeed. I think we need to mute someone somewhere. Maybe Renu Mittal. Azmat adaya, persons like us. Na, do not. Yam, whom. Vidanti, no. Tatvena, cent% as he is. Tasmai, unto him. Bhagavate, unto the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Namaha, respectful obeisances. Translation. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose incarnations and activities are chanted by us for glorification, though he can hardly be fully known as he is. I'll read it again. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto that Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose incarnations and activities are chanted by us for glorification, though he can hardly be fully known as he is. So one of the themes of this chapter has been that no one can know the extent of the greatness of God, that even God himself cannot measure his own greatness. He is so great. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. It is said that the transcendental name, form, qualities, pastimes, paraphernalia, personality, etc., cannot possibly be perceived by the gross materialistic senses. But when the senses are purified by the process of hearing, chanting, remembering, and worshiping the lotus feet of the holy deity, etc., the Lord reveals himself proportionately to the advancement of the quality of devotional service. Yeyatam mam prapadyante. So yes, Ata Sri Krishna Namadi Nabavet Graim Indre. That the Lord cannot be perceived by our gross material senses. Ata means therefore. This verse comes in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu after a discussion of the transcendental qualities of Sri Krishna. So Ataha, therefore, Ata Sri Krishna Namadi, Sri Krishna, his name, Adi means etc. Ata Sri Krishna Namadi, na bhavet grayam indriya, cannot be perceived by these indriyas, by these senses. But sevan mukhi hi jivado swayam eva sparatyadaha. But if we engage in the service of the Lord, sevan mukhi hi jivado, beginning with the tongue. Now that's a very interesting statement. How do we serve the Lord with our tongue? Srila Prabhupada explains that the tongue has two functions: to vibrate and to taste. So we serve the Lord with the tongue by vibrating the transcendental name and glories of the Lord, and by tasting Krishna Prasad. Sevan mukhi hi jivado swayam eva sparatyada. Then the Lord will reveal himself in proportion to our service. And Srila Prabhupada is making the same point in the purport, and this is so important that I will read that sentence again and discuss it further. So, it is said that the transcendental name, form, quality, pastimes, paraphernalia, personality, etc., cannot possibly be perceived by the gross materialistic senses. Tasri Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Kramindri. But when the senses are purified by the process of hearing, chanting, remembering, and here these are the, Srila Prabhupada is referring to the 9 processes of devotional service enumerated by Prahlad Maharaj. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam. But when the senses are purified by the process of hearing, chanting, remembering, and worshiping the lotus feet of the holy deity, etc., the Lord reveals himself proportionately to the advancement of the quality of the devotional service. Yeyatam mam prapadyante. So yes, yeyatam mam prapadyante means as they, this is Krishna speaking in the Bhagavad Gita, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So to the degree that we surrender to Krishna and engage fully in his service, to that degree he will reveal himself to the devotee. One should not expect the Lord to be an order-supplying agent who must be present before us as soon as we desire to see him. In other words, the Lord's not our servant that we can demand, we want to see you, and like call him as if he was like some servant, come, I want to see you. No. One should not expect the Lord to be an order-supplying agent who must be present before us as soon as we desire to see him. We must be ready to undergo the prescribed devotional duties, following the path shown by the predecessors in the disciplic succession from Brahma, Narada, and similar authorities. So there are 4 bona fide sampradayas or paramparas in Kali Yuga. And one of them is the Brahma Sampradaya. And Lord Chaitanya chose to accept a spiritual master in the Brahma Sampradaya, and we are in the Brahma Sampradaya. And that begins with Brahma to Narada, Vyas, Madhvacharya, and so on, down the line, Madhavendra Puri, Ishwara Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the 6 Goswamis. And then, of course, more recently, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Gaura-Kishoredas Babaji, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and our Srila Prabhupada. So we must receive knowledge through the parampara and offer service up through the parampara. We receive knowledge down through the parampara, and we offer service up through the parampara. We must be ready to undergo the prescribed devotional duties, following the path shown by the predecessors in the disciplic succession from Brahma, Narada, and similar authorities. Yes, Mahajanayena Gatasapanta. We should follow the path of the Mahajans. Brahma is a Mahajan, Narada is a Mahajan. As the senses are progressively purified by bona fide devotional service, the Lord reveals his identity according to the spiritual advancement of the devotee. But one who is not in the line of devotional service can hardly perceive him simply by calculations and philosophical speculations. Such a hard worker can present a jugglery of words before an audience, but he can never know the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his personal feature. The Lord has clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita that one can know him only by devotional service. Yes. Bhakti-mam abhijanati, Lord Krishna says, I can be known only by devotional service, by bhakti, and only in that way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. And Krishna is very mysterious. I mean, he's the Adi Purusha, he's the original person. He's very mysterious. He's the original person. But we can enter into the mystery of his understanding by devotional service. Bhakti-mam abhijanati. The Lord has clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita that one can know him only by devotional service. No one can know the Lord by any puffed up material process of challenge. But the humble devotee can please the Lord by his earnest devotional activities. Thus, the Lord reveals himself proportionately before the devotee. Lord Brahma therefore offers his respectful obeisances as a bona fide spiritual master and advises us to follow the process of Shravana and Kirtana. So, although Lord Brahma is a humble servant of the Supreme Lord, Krishna, and is glorifying the Lord, but he's also a spiritual master. He's our spiritual master. He's the original spiritual master in the Brahma Sampradaya. And so by his example, he's teaching us how to be devotees or disciples. Lord Brahma therefore offers his respectful obeisances as a bona fide spiritual master and advises us to follow the process of Shravana and Kirtana. Simply by this process, or simply by hearing and chanting the glories of the activities of the Lord's incarnation, one can certainly see within himself the identity of the Lord. Bhaktidas, can you bring the first canto from the table by my bed? By my bed. We have already discussed this subject in volume 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam in connection with this verse. Tat Shadadana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pasyantyatmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shuta Grihitaya. Srimad Bhagavatam 1-12. And this verse is so important, the verse in purport is so important and integral to this discussion that I am going to read it. So again, Tat Shradadana Munayo Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Pasyantyatmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shuta Grahitaya. The seriously, well, I'll read the individual words because they're so important and they will help us understand the verse more deeply. Tat, that. Shradadana, seriously inquisitive. Munaya, sages. Jnana, knowledge. Vairagya, detachment. Yuktaya, well equipped with. Pashyanti, see. Atmani, within himself. Cha, and. Atmanam, the Paramatma. Bhaktya, in devotional service. Shuta, the Vedas. Grihitaya, well received. Translation. The seriously inquisitive student or sage, well equipped with knowledge and detachment, realizes that absolute truth by rendering devotional service in terms of what he has heard from the Vedanta Shruti. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The absolute truth is realized in full by the process of devotional service to the Lord, Vasudeva, or the personality of Godhead, who is the full-fledged absolute truth. So, yeah, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayada Haitukam. So this verse mentions jnana, knowledge, and vairagya, renunciation. And Srimad Bhagavatam says, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, by rendering a devotional service to Vasudeva, very quickly knowledge and detachment develop. So we needn't read the whole purport. There's quite an elaborate description of first class, second class, and third class devotees. But coming to the last paragraph, a sincere devotee must therefore be prepared to hear the Vedic literature, like the Upanishads, Vedanta, and other literatures left by the previous authorities or Goswamis, for the benefit of his progress. In other words, we should read Srila Prabhupada's books. As Srila Prabhupada said, distributing my books will keep them happy, means the devotees. And reading my books will keep them, means keep them in Krishna consciousness. And yeah, as he also said, I've written these books not just for distributing, but also for reading. So it's very important that we do that. And yes, Vaisheshika Prabhu and at ISV and other devotees have devised different programs or quotas to encourage devotees to read Srila Prabhupada's books. And I believe that the calculation is that if we read 41 pages of Srimad Bhagavatam every day, we will complete the whole Bhagavatam in 1 year. So, a sincere devotee must therefore be prepared to hear the Vedic literature like the Upanishads, Vedanta, and other literatures left by the previous authorities or Goswamis for the benefit of his progress. Without hearing such literatures, one cannot make actual progress. And without hearing and following the instructions, the show of devotional service becomes worthless and therefore a sort of disturbance in the path of devotional service. Yeah, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Panchatriki Vidivina, that devotional service performed without reference to the scriptures is simply a disturbance. Unless, therefore, devotional service is established on the principles of Shruti, Smriti, Purana, or Panchatra authorities, the make-show of devotional service should at once be rejected. An unauthorized devotee should never be recognized as a pure devotee. By assimilation of such messages from the Vedic literatures, one can see the all-pervading, localized aspect of the personality of Godhead within his own self constantly. This is called samadhi. So this is an elaboration of Srila Prabhupada's last statement here in the purport. Simply by this process, or simply by hearing and chanting the glories of the activities of the Lord's incarnation, one can certainly see within himself the identity of the Lord. We have already discussed this subject in volume 1 of Srimad Bhagavatam in connection with the verse that we just read, 1 to 12. The conclusion is that one cannot know the Supreme Personality of Godhead fully by any method. We can never know the Lord fully by any method. But he can be seen and felt partially by the devotional service process of hearing, chanting, etc. So this is very exciting. We are discussing the highest topic, God or Krishna, and how we can actually approach him and develop a relationship with him in which he reveals himself to us. And he does so in proportion to our devotional service. Yayatamam prapadyante. Bhaktimam abhijanati. That's the only way. Only by devotional service can I be known. And only in that way can one enter into the mysteries of my understanding. So, Hare Krishna, I think that we can see if there are any questions or comments now.
Yes, Maharaj. So we will monitor through 2 channels. One is the Zoom. First, I will allow devotees to speak directly, and then there is some question from Facebook and other media. which I will read it for you. So what I'll do, every devotees who are there on the call in the Zoom, you have the eligibility to unmute yourself, and you can raise also if you wanted to question, so that you can come in the order. But I will open up, so please unmute yourself and ask the question directly.
Yeah, I prefer to see the devotees who are asking questions. And they don't have to only ask questions. They can also share comments and reflections.
Wanted to speak something? Okay.
So I would suggest they raise their hand if they...
Yes, so please raise your hand in the Zoom itself, and so that we know. Okay, we got Srivasa Puranam. Please go ahead, Srivasa.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for the wonderful class.
But can we see your moon-like face?
I don't know if there's...
Yeah, you can share your camera.
There you are. There you are. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, everything lagged for a second. Yeah, my question was regarding sincerity. You were mentioning how the more sincere we are with our devotional service, it's much easier to approach the Lord. So, my question was regarding how to remain sincere, because sometimes when I try to get rid of some anarthas or some bad habits, I understand that it's extremely hard, and I pray to Krishna saying, it's only by your mercy that it can go away. And sometimes I end up falling back into that bad habit, and then I come back out and I continue to ask Krishna to help me. And when that bad habit starts to go away, I have this, I don't know, Maya does her thing, and suddenly I start thinking, wow, I've gotten rid of my bad habit. And I lose that humility factor, and that really kills my sincerity. So I was wondering, how do I maintain that humility in order to continue to beg Krishna for his mercy?
Well, in the beginning, you asked about sincerity, and Srila Prabhupada said two things in particular about sincerity. One is that you become sincere by associating with sincere devotees. And the other is that you become sincere by following all of the instructions of the spiritual master, however big or small. But that's a bit of a problem as you've presented your situation, because you try to follow, but you don't always. Bhaktidas, I need that 11th canto, which I read the other day. So I will read a verse and part of a purport that I would say very well describes your situation. This is something else. I will get that verse in a moment.
Chapter 20.
Maybe.
Yeah. Right.
That's it. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 11, Chapter 20, Pure Devotional Service, text 27 and 28. And I think you'll find that this is very relevant. For the sake of time, I won't read the Sanskrit, although it's wonderful. But I'll read the translation. Having awakened faith This is Krishna speaking to Uddhava. Having awakened faith in the narrations of my glories, being disgusted with all material activities, knowing that all sense gratification leads to misery, but still being unable to renounce all sense gratification, my devotee should remain happy and worship me with great faith and conviction. Even though he is sometimes engaged in sense enjoyment, my devotee knows that all sense gratification leads to a miserable result, and he sincerely repents such activities. Purport. The beginning stage of pure devotional service is described here by the Lord. And yeah, it's a real beautiful purport. But I'll just read part of it because it's a bit long. The word dridha nischaya, steadfast conviction, indicates that in any circumstance, a devotee is completely determined to go on with his prescribed duties for Krishna. Thus he thinks, quote, by my previous shameful life, my heart is polluted with many illusory attachments. Personally, I have no power to stop them. Only Lord Krishna within my heart can remove such inauspicious contamination. But whether the Lord removes such attachments immediately or lets me go on being afflicted by them, I will never give up my devotional service to him. Even if the Lord places millions of obstacles in my path, and even if because of my offenses I go to hell, I will never for a moment stop serving Lord Krishna. So the conclusion is to continue, to persevere and have faith in the Lord. In fact, a sincere devotee of the Lord must be sincerely convinced that simply by the strength of devotional service and the mercy of Lord Krishna, he will achieve everything auspicious in life. One must believe that Lord Krishna is all merciful and that he is the only real goal of one's life. Such determined faith, combined with a sincere desire to give up sense enjoyment, will carry one past the obstacles of this world. So this is, if you ever want, this is a verse in purport that we can read again and again. When these thoughts or complexities plague you, you can read these verses. Canto 11, chapter 20, text 27 and 28.
So Maharaj, there are some questions, but I will read one question from Facebook.
Okay.
Shyam Kishore is asking, Hare Krishna, dearest Maharaj, please accept my most humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to your holiness. Are all the four bona fide sampradayas considered equal? What makes the Brahma Sampradaya unique?
Well, what makes the Brahma Sampradaya unique is that Krishna, as Lord Chaitanya, chose to appear, or not chose to appear in the Sampradaya, but he chose to accept a spiritual master in the Brahma Sampradaya. And therefore the Brahma Sampradaya is very special. Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. It's very special because Lord Chaitanya appeared in it. And his followers, the 6 Goswamis, have compiled wonderful scriptures, Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Samstapako, that give us guidance. And then our most recent acharyas, it's very unusual to have so many powerful acharyas, one after the other, like Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and our Srila Prabhupada. So it's a great blessing to be connected to the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. And we should, take advantage of our good fortune by following the process strictly, sincerely and strictly, and sharing our good fortune with others by preaching Krishna consciousness, distributing Srila Prabhupada's books.
Thank you, Maharaj. So we have Gandharvika Mataji also on the lines. She wanted to ask a question. Gandharvika Mataji, please unmute yourself and share your video also and ask the question.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Nice to see you.
Lovely to see you too. Please accept our humble obeisances of glories to Srila Prabhupada, of glories to your holiness. We love that we can speak to you like this and hear from you so nicely. One question we have regarding what you just said about sincerity to the previous Prabhu's question. You said that we should sincerely follow the instructions of the spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada gave us so many instructions and books, coming from the 6 Goswamis books such as Hari Bhakti Vilasa, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And in those books, there's so many detailed requirements, so many standards and rules and regulations to follow that sometimes, due to my fallen condition, I may not be able to follow exactly every day. Due to it seemingly being impractical. So in that way, I wouldn't necessarily be following the instructions, all of which in Hari Bhakti Vilas or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So does that mean, so how do I become more sincere in that way by following the instructions of the spiritual masters like that?
Well, the basic principle of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti is to always remember Krishna and never forget him. And commenting on that verse, which appears in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's quoted in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Srila Prabhupada says that there are many activities in the Krishna consciousness movement, such as enrolling life members and distributing books. And all of these are meant to facilitate remembrance of Krishna. And then he says, or he also says that to always remember Krishna, never forget him, one must chant at least 16 rounds of japa daily. So there are a lot of rules and regulations, and we should follow as many as we can. But they're all servants, all the negative prohibitions are servants of the one prohibition, never forget Krishna, and all the positive injunctions are servants of the one injunction to always remember Krishna. But we should not neglect a regulative principle due to laziness or laxness. But sometimes we have to choose which rule is of higher importance and which is of lesser importance. And there's one example in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which Srila Prabhupada quoted to me personally when I asked him a question. And in that case, it was Govinda was Lord Chaitanya's servant. And it was the principle that after Lord Chaitanya had his lunch, Govinda would massage his feet. So one day it just so happened that Lord Chaitanya took rest right at the threshold to the room, right at the doorway. And so to massage Lord Chaitanya's lotus feet, Govinda had to step over his body, which one should not do. So he massaged the Lord's lotus feet, and then he just waited there until the Lord woke up. So then the Lord asked him, Govinda, have you taken prasad? He said, no, I haven't. I said, well, why not? He said, well, to get out of the room, I would have had to step over your body, which would have been an offense. So Lord Chaitanya said, well, how did you get into the room? You must have stepped over my body. And Govinda said, yes, I could do that for the sake of your service, but I couldn't do that for the sake of my sense gratification. Is that all right? Any?
Perfect, Maharaj. Thank you so much. That was a perfect answer.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you, Maharaj. So let me read some of the comments that are like Dilip Kumar Patel, Dhananjay Prabhu, Leela Nandini Mataji, and who else?
Oh, but they're not on the Zoom call?
They're not on the Zoom, but Facebook, they're just saying Hare Krishna, Dandavat to you, seeking your blessings. And also in the Zoom, there are various devotees thanking the class as well as your association. So we'd like to thank all the devotees participated online. So
Yeah.
I would take 1 or 2 minutes, which is sharing our Bhadra campaign. So
Yes.
it was published by the BBT as well as Ministry of Education. We are collectively doing this. So
Yeah.
Bhadra campaign, most likely those devotees were inspiring them to read Bhagavatam, listen Bhagavatam, and if they do not have a copy of Bhagavatam, also get a copy of Bhagavatam from either BBT directly or from us, from anywhere, your local temple. That's our motive. So you can encourage devotees who are there. If they don't have, please get any copy of Bhagavatam, Maharaj.
Yes, one of Srila Prabhupada's last instructions, he was in his last days in Vrindavan. He was still translating, but lying in bed. You might have seen some pictures. And one of the last purports that he dictated was, read Srimad Bhagavatam as much as possible every day. It was compiled by Vyas in his maturity, Mahamuni Krite. And the more you discuss the subject, the more it becomes clarified. So yeah, but I mean, right from the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it's, you know, the ripened tree, the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic scriptures. So practically nothing can compare with Srimad Bhagavatam. Everyone should have a set in their homes, and I mean, I have a big place. I have a few buildings, and I have a set in every building on the campus. And I can, if we have a couple of minutes, I can read something really nice that Srila Prabhupada wrote about Srimad Bhagavatam. I would say spoke about Srimad Bhagavatam. So I heard this in a talk by Srila Prabhupada given in Los Angeles on January 5th, 1974, on Srimad Bhagavatam 168, which says, living beings who are under Yamaraja's grip should take advantage by hearing the deathless nectar in the form of this narration of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada glorified Srimad Bhagavatam and the importance of book distribution. He said, this is the Bhagavat. There is no comparison. There is no literature throughout the universe like Srimad Bhagavatam. There is no comparison. There is no competition. Every word is for the good of the human society. Each and every word. Therefore, we stress so much on book distribution. Somehow or other, if the book goes in one's hand, he will be benefited. At least he will think, oh, they've taken so much price. Let me see what is there. If he reads one shloka, his life will be successful. If he reads one shloka, one word, it is such a nice thing. Therefore, we are stressing so much. Please distribute book, distribute book, distribute book. A greater mridanga. We are chanting, playing our mridanga. It is heard within this room or a little more. But this mridanga will go home to home, country to country, community to community. This mridanga. So, yeah, Srila Prabhupada, he loves Srimad Bhagavatam, and he wanted us to read it, and he wanted us to distribute it. So yeah, I have one book here. So I got at one of the Sadhu Sangha retreats, and it is signed by Trivikram Swami, Bhadra Das, Sachinandan Swami. It's also signed by me. I think what happened is we were signing books to encourage devotees to buy them by Srimad Bhagavatam at Sadhu Sangha. And then I guess they had one extra that they gifted me. So this copy is signed by Trivikram Swami, Bhadra Das, Sachinandan Swami, Giriraj Swami, Janani Vasdas, Kavi Chandra Swami, Niranjan Swami, Radhanath Swami, Jayadvaita Swami, Indradumya Swami, and Vaisheshika Das. So this is one of my prized possessions.
Thank you for sharing this wonderful realization, Maharaj. It was nice. So I'll take 1 minute to just share one special thing about our, if you can see my screen. So meet yourself. So Maharaj also written a book called Watering the Seed and many more. Please have a look into his library. Then also we are, if anyone in the call is interested to be a teacher in giving the Bhakti Shastra and Bhakti Vaibhav program and many other educational initiatives, please contact me because you want to expand this Srimad Bhagavatam cultural knowledge for all. And last but not the least, our Amrtera Tarangini series to complete the Canto 2 Srimad Bhagavatam, and we'd like to thank you, Maharaj, for this week. And next week, June 6th, will be 8 p.m. His Holiness Bhakti Anukra Janardhan Swami Maharaj, and he's based out in because of the lockdown situation in Moscow, Russia. So he'll be giving the class from Russia. So please join next week also, and also the following week also will continue until June 22nd. Would like to give a big Haribol. Please unmute yourself and say Hare Krishna to His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj for joining with us tonight and giving such a wonderful session. Please.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Thank you.
Maharaj, appears to let us speak.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Ram.
Hare Ram. Hare
Thank
Ram.
you for your association.
Guru Maharaj, Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
To hear your voices.